Now, something else that I do, I tend to not serve the string. That is, I tend not to wrap the string in nylon evenly from one side to the other, right around the center, like say true center, 3 inches on either side. I'll do 2 on one side and 4 on the other. I like it better that way, and this way, if you have one side that you prefer goes to the top, just put the put the side that the serving is closer to at the top. That generally works out better. Nocking arrows. Okay, I'm holding the bow at the center. Holding the bow at the center. I put the arrow through, rested on top of my hand. One of the veins is always going to be marked differently. If it's not, well, that's okay, but you're just trying to line it up so that when it's strung, there are 2 flat arrows, or 2 flat veins on the side of the bow. And then the one special arrow, or I keep saying it, one special vein is on the side opposite away. So in theory, as you can see here, as the arrow passes by the bow's body, the veins should minimally disrupt the flight of the arrow. If you do it the other way, this vein is going to bump against the body of the bow, and it's going to knock the arrow a little further off course. Probably not within short range, going to be critical, but it's just a bad habit. It can damage your fletching. It's not very good. So start off finding your knock point. You can start off by just making the arrow square. Typically, you're going to want to go up about a 1/4 inch from square, and that's going to be where you're going to want to have the knock point of your bow and arrow. Each individual bow and arrow may be different. It may be different for you based on whether you use an Asiatic draw, a thumb draw that is, or whether you use a 3-fingered Western style draw like this, which is something else we'll talk about in a second. Okay, so now we know how to knock it. How do we draw it? Let's put the arrow on. Now, Western draw is, like I said, put the arrow on the knuckles of your hand. You're resting it there. And then with 2 or 3 fingers, I do it usually this way, 1 finger above and 2 fingers below, although I know a lot of people who do it 3 fingers below or 2 fingers below. Do what feels good, that's okay. But I do it this way. 2 fingers below, 1 finger above. Square off to your target. Some people go 45-degree angle off. I tend to want to square more. And then you're pulling, you're drawing back. Just like that. Trying to draw back to a specific point. In this case, let's say the corner of my mouth. You want some way to index. So I'll use my fingers here and there. I've reached the corner of my mouth. So I know every time I draw that to that spot, I'm pulling the exact same amount in theory. Of course, the way you angle your arm is going to affect that too, because this is going to be shorter than this. Try and be consistent. Whatever you do, consistency is important. I'm terrible at that, but especially since every few days I'm switching bows that I'm using, so I never have an opportunity to really develop a good technique with it. But try, especially if you only have a few bows. That's good for you. You have less temptation to keep switching them. Go ahead and just practice one way consistently. That's good. Next, let's see, we can talk about a thumb draw. If you have a light bow like this, a 20-pound bow, you can do it with your bare thumb, no problem. With a heavier bow, anything over like 30, 35 pounds and up, I prefer to use a thumb ring. I've talked about those and shown some of my other videos, but the basic principle is still the same. In that case, if you're shooting off the thumb ring with an Asiatic draw, you're shooting off your thumb. So that should be easy to remember. You're knocking roughly at the same point, so square up about a 1/4 inch. Take your thumb, drawing it here, like so. Something I've noticed is that when drawing three-fingered Western style, a lot of people want to keep their arms straight down, and yet I've seen recommendations, especially when using the Asiatic draw, you want to allow your elbow to come up so you can more fully use your back muscles.